Hello, Leah Kalmakis here. Today I'm going to show you just an intro to your WordPress dashboard so you understand what everything means, what you don't need to touch, and what you can be using to update your own site. So once you've logged in to your WordPress website, this is the page you're going to see. So yours may look a little different. Here I have something coming from Thesis, which is my theme. And so yours may look different, and you may have some notifications at the top, but generally this is what it looks like. So the majority of things here in the center you don't need to touch. It's basically an overview, how many pages, posts you have, comments, and then some news from WordPress blog. But basically what we're going to take a look at is the menu options. So also you need to note that your menu items may look different depending on what themes you have, what plugins you have, so don't get too caught up in the order of this menu. The main things you're going to want to look at are posts and pages, and it's important to understand the difference. Your posts are your blog posts or your news posts or whatever you want to call them, but these are updated generally often. They don't stay static, so on your blog page you will see the most recent at the top going down to the oldest posts, whereas your pages here are your static areas on your site. So let's go over to a live site and show you an example. If we go to the home page, we see our blogs. These may have a date attached to them. Well, there's always a date attached to them. Whether it shows or not depends on your settings. And then we have an older post down here underneath. Whereas your pages, as you can see, are just static. So you'll want to use this for your services, your about page, and things like that. So you always have two options with posts and pages. You can go to all pages or all posts. It looks the same, where you have a list and you can choose which ones you want to click on. Or you have add new. So add new page, and up here add new post. And for posts you actually also have categories and tags. I'll talk about that in a later video. Then we have our media, which is all of the images or documents that you host on your site. So you may upload different pictures into different pages or posts, and you can see all of that here. You will also see whether you had your site designed by someone else or you've done it yourself, any images that are used in the actual design, which will also be listed here. I don't have any currently on this test site, but you will see them listed here. So then another important thing are your comments. I don't have any comments on this site either, but you will see whenever you get new comments, they'll be listed here, and you'll have options to approve them, to treat them as spam, or to trash them. Whenever you have a new comment, you'll also have a little notification up here, and it'll say how many comments are awaiting your moderation. So these two options, these are plugins that I have. So you may have different ones. I have a contact form plugin that I use often, and it's called Contact Form 7. And basically the information is listed here. This is another tables plugin, but you may not have that. And then I have my thesis theme. So this is where I go in and edit all the design. So generally, if you've had your site designed, you're not going to need to touch whatever theme you're using here. And then we have appearance. So here is where you choose your themes, if you're doing it on your own, or your widgets. So these are everything that would be in your sidebar. I'm going to click and give you a quick overview. So here we have what's in the sidebar. You see I just have a text widget right now on this test site, and if we go over and look at the site, we can see the text that I put in that widget. You have several options over here that you can add, and I'll show you in a later video how to add different widgets. And you do that just by dragging this over and placing it there. And you will have a new widget. Sidget. So that's just a quick example of a type of widget. If we go over and refresh, you see a new widget there. So that's where you control things that are in your sidebar. And you may have widgets in other places, in your footer, for example. So all the widgets are controlled through here. Then we have our menus. And this is where you would reorder your menu or make something a drop down or adding things to your menu. And I will talk about that as well in a later video. And then editor is part of the CSS coding behind your site design, so that you shouldn't need to touch. Then we have plugins, so you'll learn to use lots of different plugins that help with functionality of your site. So those are here. You can see which ones are installed. You can add new. You can search for them right within WordPress, or if you have one installed in your computer, you can upload it from here. And you'll also see on your installed plugins here, whenever there's updates to do, there'll be a yellow bar across here of things you may need to do to keep your plugins updated. Then we have users. So this is where you would control if you want to give different people different access to your site. Say you wanted to make just a new password and login information for someone that you're outsourcing some work to. You could make them their own login information for that, and then you would be able to just delete it when you're done working with them. And then we have tools, so to export, if you wanted to save all your blog posts, make sure you have a copy of them. And then we have settings. So these are just some general settings. I'll give you an example. Under general, we have the site title, the tagline. So this is what shows up in the top bar of your website. So let me go to the home page to give you an example. Leah's test site, you can't see it, but it says for WordPress tutorials. And there we see with the little pop-up. So if you wanted to change how that looks in your browser's bar, you could change that here. You also have options of where your what email address to use for general notifications about WordPress, and you can change some date functions as well for your blog. And then we have a couple other options you're not going to use too much, and then sometimes your plugins you have might be listed in here. So there's a few places plugins might show up depending on the plugin. If it's a pretty robust, important plugin, it's going to show up on here, like my Backup Buddy plugin, for example. Other smaller ones might appear under your settings, and then of course in your plugins menu bar as well. So that's about it for the general WordPress tutorial. Don't be scared to click around, look at some things. If you're ever worried about changing something, you can always Google it and make sure it's not going to cause any problems. But the things that I showed you about posts, pages, comments, there's not many errors you can do, so don't be too hesitant to click around and test things out. Thank you.